Cheers and welcome to part 2 of how to speedrun Deus Ex Mankind Divided. In this video I'm gonna show you the most basic route of the run, just a glitchless run without any skips. But even if you just want to do glitchless runs, I would advise you to stick to the next video, because there are a few skips that you can do in glitchless. It's not much, but there are some. And before I start, I quickly want to mention that if you haven't watched the last video, there is a Discord for all runners of all Deus Ex games linked in the description. And yeah, I'm also gonna assume that you already know the game's mechanics, like what an Icarus dash is or how leveling up works. Also, if you haven't played the story yet, spoilers, obviously. And just as another side note, I'm using my current glitchless PB as background footage, so if you want to watch the whole uncut video, it's on my channel. Alright, we're gonna start off the game as usual and skip the recap. So right at the start, as you know, you can choose between picking non-lethal and lethal weapons. Technically it doesn't matter what you pick, but it is much easier if you pick lethal, because you get 2 frag grenades instead of smoke grenades, and you're gonna need them to burst open doors. And technically you can go non-lethal, but then you have to pick up a pistol or a battle rifle on the way. And it doesn't lose any time, but it's much easier to just do the frag grenades. The next 40 seconds are pretty much just as you would run the game usually. It's sort of optimized movement everywhere, but nothing too fancy. Until you get to this smashable wall here. So in casual play you would have to run back there, switch on the generator and then type in the key or hack the keypad. But in speedruns we don't really do that. We kind of just break open the door with the typhoon. Since we are playing on easy, those enemies after the door don't really do anything to you. It's sort of like a soft tickle, but they can't really kill you unless you really just stand there for a minute. So this jump right here is kinda tricky. I'm missing it like 50% of the time. Basically you want to jump on the cinder block and then up, so you can get in the fenced area, smash the wall and then jump down the elevator shaft. You could just go down the elevator, but it's slightly slower. So what we're doing in glitchless runs is just jump up there, and if you miss the jump, just reset. It's just like a minute lost. It's not that big of a deal. The timing on the jump is really weird, because you have to sort of do half a step and then jump again, because if you jump immediately afterwards, it's not gonna get as high, and you need maximum height to reach that steel beam up there. But yeah, other than that, it's just running through enemies and ignoring them and get to the next door. Alright, so at this door you're gonna have to type in 0682. It's one of only 3 codes that you're gonna have to memorize throughout the whole run. There's 2 other ones that the game tells you, so it's in total 5 keys. But as I said, you're gonna need to memorize 3 of them. If you have trouble memorizing, you can just write it on a note and put it next to your monitor, or put it in the name of your splits. But yeah, after that just skip the cutscene and jump down there and finish Dubai. Now is the most boring part of the run. It's 4.5 minutes of just watching you and Alex converse. I'm just gonna skip it. You can't really do anything here. Alright, the next segment is really easy. You need to get to Koller's place. There's this one guard in front of Koller's place. If we get too close, he wants to talk to us, and we don't want that. So we need to get around him somehow. One way is to just shoot him, so he can't talk, or just use the cloak and sneak around him, which is obviously the fastest route, and you're gonna see everyone use that. The next bit is also very straightforward. There's this one jump that's pretty similar to the one in Dubai, where you have to kind of time your jumps just right, and you're also gonna see everyone fail this like 50% of the time. If you fail it, just turn left and then go up the stairs. I'm gonna skip that part in the video too, because you just have to do what Koller says and you can't really do anything except skip the text. Alright, now we're gonna choose what augmentations we want to use. So for the run we need the Icarus dash at 2, we're gonna need the first one of the lag augmentations so we can jump higher, and we're gonna want at least 1 tier of the glass cloak. Now you're gonna have around 4 or 5 praxes available, and you can either go safe and invest in the Icarus landing, or just spend everything on battery capacity, battery recharge and battery delay, in that order. We don't really need anything else in the run, except for later on where we need the Tesla, and in any percent we need the one where you can lift heavy stuff, but in Glitchless you don't need that. Alright, the next bit is fairly straightforward, just get to the metro and to TF29, there's nothing you can really skip or make faster, except for one bit, and you're gonna see me and a lot of other people do that. It's called safe loading. Safe loading is one of the few tricks that you can actually do in Glitchless. I'm not gonna go too much in detail because I'm gonna do that in the next video. Just know that it makes us be able to dash more often in a succession. Now that we're in TF29, you're gonna really need the lag augmentation, because if you don't have that, you're screwed now. You have to jump on the wall and on the speaker to get to the upper floor. Because if you don't do that, you have to watch a conversation, and that takes time and you don't want to waste time. Now get into the ventilation system to the server room and then punch in the number 7734. It's the second one of the 3 codes that you have to use, and the next one is in the last level of the game, so you really don't need anything from that point on. After the conversation with Miller, make sure to pick up the multi-tool in his office, because you're gonna need it for later and you only have 1 chance after it to pick it up, so if you forget it, you're screwed later on. If you haven't invested in the Icarus landing system, you're gonna die if you jump down there, so make sure you land on the railing to the left or to slide down the backside of the monitors. Both of those will decrease your fall damage and you will survive, but just jumping there without any upgrades to the Icarus system or your health will just kill you instantly. There's not really much to say about Rusika, just run through there and avoid all guards, because you can actually die here pretty easily. And if you get low health, just remember, if you upgrade your batteries or your health, you gain full HP and full energy instantly. So if you run low, just upgrade your health or your battery and you're good to go. One thing I forgot to mention is that every time you ride the metro, make sure you go to the cars in the very back that are just for augs, because if you go in the human car, then you're gonna have to watch a 25-second cutscene of an angry guy yelling at you, and you really don't want that. Also, in Rusika's case, for some reason the right one does not trigger that cutscene, but the left one does, so make sure you go to the right cars. After Rusika, just head back to TF29 again. The next few minutes are also pretty self-explanatory, just do the missions as you would usual, talk to the people, don't forget Smiley. Now at this point there are the 2 codes that the game actually tells you. They're 4464 and 4465 for the L.I.M.B clinic and Kopecky's place respectively. Personally, when I started running, I had the most problems here in L.I.M.B because I would just die every single time at one specific point, and we're gonna come to that later. But for now, there is one important thing to notice. Here at the beginning there's a guard. You can just either cloak by him or use an Icarus dash to get by him, because if you get close to him, he's gonna want to scan you for 20 seconds I think, or 15, and again, you don't want to lose time. So right here you're gonna see me sneak and cloak around guards. You don't actually have to do it, you can just run through and then dash through the lasers. Because the way guards work in this game is kind of weird. As long as just those guards see you, you're fine, but if the lasers spot you, then the whole area will search for you. So yeah, if the lasers don't spot you, you're good to go, but personally I always cloak through it because it's much safer. And yeah, if the whole area is searching for you, it's pretty much guaranteed that you're gonna die. Getting to Marchenko's first cutscene is also really easy. You just have to jump up those two beams, and then there's a whale where you have to jump on its fin and then just jump onto the platform. You're gonna see some people use the Icarus dash, but you don't really need it, you can just jump up there. Before you dash over that ledge, I would really advise you to quick save before it, because sometimes you don't have the grab sign and just have to tell and guess where you're gonna land. So it could be that you just fall down to your death and you don't want that, so quick save before it, just so you're safe. Right after this cutscene is the point that I was talking about, where I would just die over and over again. Basically you just have to run through it and dash and get through it as fast as possible, but there's just so many enemies there that it's kind of just a coin toss if you make it or not. Again, if you run low on health, just upgrade your health systems and you're good to go, or take like that one weird item that I never use. But yeah, also you can't really skip anything there, just run through and get to the elevator as fast as you can. Now everything past this elevator is gonna get skipped in any percent, so if you are not looking forward to do glitchless and just any percent, then you don't have to pay attention to this, or just skip it, because it's a 4-minute dialogue with Rucker where you just have to press the right things in the right order. Again, in any percent you just skip all of this, but in glitchless you have to do it, because you know you can't go out of bounds. There is actually a fastest way to do this whole cutscene. If you go left, left, up, left, you're gonna save about a minute compared to any other ways to do it. It's gonna intentionally lose all this conversation, so you can't just go to the door to your right, you have to shoot through the window and then go around there. The next bit is also really easy, just get to the cutscene as fast as you can, straightforward. There is one thing though, there's this large drop that you have to do. If you didn't invest in the Icarus system, you have to use your Icarus dash before you hit the ground, because then it kind of resets your height that you were dropped from, so you don't get fall damage. After you turn from Golem, you have to get to Miller's apartment. Make sure you get the absinthe from that one homeless guy on the way, because you're gonna need that to bribe another homeless guy later on. Here you're gonna see me wait a bit before the apartment to let the voice line finish, because if you're too early inside the apartment, then the keycard won't spawn, and you basically have to go out of the apartment and get in again, so it respawns. This bug comes up again at a later point, where you're in a location before you're actually supposed to be there. Make sure you pick up the sniper rifle that's in the same room as the keycard, because you're gonna need it later on, and if you don't have it, then in glitchless it's not that bad, but in any percent you pretty much have lost the run. After you're done in the apartment, you don't really have to dash to get to Alex, because most of the time you're gonna be there before the voice line actually finishes, and her dialogue only triggers once the voice line is finished. And also note that you have to stand outside the area where Alex would spawn. So there's like a specific point where you can wait inside the courtyard, and yeah, just wait there until the voice line is finished and then dash into the conversation. You're gonna see me do this thing where I would jump sideways over obstacles. That's because if you jump straight up, then you're gonna get this animation where he kind of climbs up there, and if you do it sideways, obviously it doesn't. So it saves like a second every time you jump over obstacles. It's really minuscule, but again, a second is a second that you save. Make sure you actually go and talk to Smiley before or after doing the NSN, because in my first runs I forgot it so many times, and then you have to reload and lose like a minute. The only thing I can really tell you about the NSN bit is that you have to watch runs and watch how they do it and memorize the path, because you just have to go there, click E, and that's it. And again, if you haven't talked to Smiley before the NSN, do it now. Do not forget to talk to Smiley. I can't stress how important that is, but you do need to talk to Smiley. Otherwise, you can't really progress in the game, and you have to reload and talk to Smiley again. And if it happens in a run, it's really annoying. Just talk to Smiley, please. If you haven't picked up the absinthe at the way to Miller's apartment, now is your last chance, because after you get over that building with a dash, you're gonna have to bribe that homeless guy. And he would take 1,000 credits, but you don't have that money, you just have like a bottle of alcohol. And you can give him that, and he gives you his information. Now, after the conversation with Stanek, you have to get to Janus, and that's the point that I was mentioning before, where you can actually just break the game completely. Or not break it, but just soft lock it. But first you need to actually get into that place, and for that you have to shoot down the door. You can just do it with a revolver or your assault rifle, but it's actually slightly faster to do it with the sniper rifle, because you only need 2 shots for it if you're standing really close. Usually you would have to wait at the end of that ventilation shaft until Alex is done talking, because if you go into that area before that whole voice line is finished, it's gonna soft lock, and I can quickly show you a video how it looks like.
Compris.
Cherche une poubelle sous une marque à la craie. Elle est à côté.
In a nutshell, the game gets confused that you're in that area before you're supposed to, and so technically the cutscene triggers, but it doesn't advance, and then you can't redo anything, you have to reload. And in this run you can see me do the thing that you can do to prevent it. At the opposite side of the room is a hole, and if you jump down that hole after the conversation is finished, it kind of resets it, and so the game thinks you were outside the area. So if you jump back up, then it's normal, but if you just run through and go to the door, it's gonna soft lock. After skipping through the conversation, just get out and cloak through the laser sights, because once the lasers actually spot you, the guards outside will also attack you, so make sure you don't get spotted by them. And right outside you have to get into the metro station, and again, if you haven't invested in the Icarus landing system, just dash shortly before you hit the ground so you don't get fall damage, but if you have the Icarus landing system, it doesn't really matter. Over here at the stairs there's a trigger that you have to hit. If you don't hit that trigger, then Alex's next dialogue will not pop up. In casual play, it's intended that you kind of go to the metro station, and then Alex wants to convince you that you have to go to the bank, and then you're in this conflict of, okay, do I save Allison or do I go to the bank and actually do stuff? For the speedrun, we just have to hit that one trigger and then run straight to the bank, because it kind of cues the voice line behind Stanek's voice line, so you can just run to the bank and Alex's voice line will play after it just fine. Just make sure you hit that one trigger, because if you don't, you have to reload all the way like to Janus. Now, on the way to the bank, you have to make sure you're as fast as you can, because if you get the keycard from Janus before Alex has finished her dialogue, you don't have to decide between Allison or the bank. So, yeah, again, you need to be fast, and safe loading really helps with that. I'm gonna go over what safe loading exactly does in the third one, but it really helps to just go fast. Also, if you're fast enough, then there's a guard standing there holding the door open. I actually don't know the key code for that door, so if the guard's not there, then you're kind of fucked up. You can just burst open the door or guess the key or hack it, but personally I don't know that code. For me it always worked out to get there in time. Inside the bank there's a multitude of ways to actually get to your goal, but as far as I know, the fastest one is to jump up this little sign and then onto the arc above where the guard is standing. Once you're there, just shoot the window and then jump straight in. You don't have to Icarus dash, you can just do it with a regular jump. And the same thing applies here. If you don't have the Icarus landing system, just dash before you hit the ground. But as I said, if you want to go safe, just pick the Icarus landing system so you don't accidentally die when you jump down there. And also you can die here by just getting shot, so make sure you make it quick. Down here I don't really have anything to say, just cloak through the lasers and you're fine. You can also dash through the very last laser, but I personally don't like this threat because it's too unsafe. I just go safe and like waste half a second for it. Here is where I really got confused when I first started running. You just get in the vault and then get out again. You don't have to grab anything. The only problem is that it will still show you the quest marker to do the bank heist. And for some reason also to talk with Stanek, even though you already did that. I have no idea why, but for some reason the game just insists that you talk to Stanek even if he's already like dead and gone. And when you're done, just get out and make sure you don't get hit by the guards when you get out, and go to Kopecky's place. There's not really much you can skip, just make sure you go there as fast as you can, and again, safe load a few times between there, and then you're good to go. Garm is really short but really sweet. It's just, I think, 2 minutes or 2.5, but it's so much you have to do and so much you could fuck up. So right at the beginning you need that multi-tool you got from Miller's apartment. After that, just skip the cutscene as fast as you can and then wait until the second one has finished. Right here you can choose between contacting Vega or Miller. If you contact Miller, then the whole facility will search for you and will be on alert. So you don't want to do that because it's gonna make it a little harder at the beginning. So make sure to contact Vega. After that, just destroy the fan to get inside the ventilation and then climb up the ladder afterwards. And right here is the point that I was talking about in the beginning. You're gonna need that one frag grenade to open the door. You can theoretically shoot it with, I think, 4 or 5 sniper rifle shots, but it's a bit faster if you do it with a frag grenade. You can actually skip about 3 seconds at that staircase if you have enough energy to actually make an advanced Icarus dash up there, but if you don't have that energy, just run up. Now in this last room it's actually very easy to die, because it's close quarters and the enemies can hit you very easily, so just make sure you go into the elevator as fast as you can and to stand in a position where they can't hit you. Because I had a run where I actually died while I was in there and the doors have actually closed. It was really annoying. I had to like load to the beginning of the level because technically you're in combat all that time, so you can't save in between. It was really annoying. Right out after this cutscene we get to Prague 3 or Curfew or however you want to call it. And when I started running I actually found that this was like the second hardest part, because every single enemy wants to kill you and there's so many of them, and especially at one point with a turret I died so many times in runs I can't even tell you. But if you know the route and where you can stand and walk without getting detected, then you can actually get to TF29 without even the enemy spotting you. Now here you don't have to talk to Smiley, you just need to go to Miller and talk to him, and after that get to Diwali territory. At this route I died so many times because just before the entrance to the Diwali territory there's a military turret. And you can actually die to that very easily, but I kind of found a way that works for me by just doing a charge dash slightly to the left of the turret so I get through it as fast as I can. But yeah, at the end of that tunnel there's the second door that we have to blow up with the grenade. And then after this just do the precise route that me and pretty much everyone else does to get to Radic. Here in this room you can see me cloaking to where the conversation would start, because if the guards to your left fire at you before you actually get there, then Otar and Radic actually get hostile towards you and start firing, so the cutscene won't trigger, so you actually have to either kill them and then go to the PC or reload the whole section. Now you just go out pretty much the same way you got in, except this time you go up the stairs to your left instead of the door in front of you. And when you get out, make sure you hop through the same window you came in, because if you just walk through the front door, you're gonna get hit by an EMP and you can't see your HP. So it could very possibly be that you just die and you don't know. Now you have to get to the metro station so you can go to your apartment, talk to Alex and go back again. There's also really not much I can tell you, except that if you don't have the Icarus landing system, make sure you dash or you grab the ledges before you jump down. And again, if you're on low health, you can just upgrade your battery or health system to get to 100% again. Now right here you can see me die because I got really unlucky with that one enemy that fired at me as soon as he saw me. Also, I just didn't really watch my health as quickly as I should have. Anyways, just go to Kopecky's place and then fly to London. In any percent you're gonna skip everything that I'm gonna show you now, so this route is only relevant to you if you really wanna go glitchless. First you just go down the elevator as you would in a casual playthrough. Here you can see me taking cover before I cloak, because if the enemies or the camera spot you activating the glass shield, then they are gonna be hostile immediately. They're not even gonna wait a second, they're firing at you instantly. If you haven't upgraded your glass shield to tier 2 or 3, then you're gonna lose energy really quickly in this section, so make sure you either use your biocell or to regain energy with upgrading augmentations again. Here at this keypad you're gonna need the third and final key code that you actually need in the whole run, and it's 5359. And this key code in particular pisses me off so much, because on every single website where there's the codes for Deus Ex Mankind Divided, it's spelled wrong, because they want to tell you it's 5395, but it's not, it's 5359, and they all copy from each other, so they all got it wrong, and it's hilarious. I don't know why they didn't check it, they didn't like load the game and see if it's actually working. No, they just copy it, and you know, maybe it's right, maybe it's not, who cares? But yeah, after this you just have to watch a minute and a half of them just talking, and after that just sneak out again the way you came in. After going down the elevator again, in casual play you would have to eliminate every single guard down there. But of course in the speedrun that's way too much time, you don't actually have to eliminate anyone. In older glitchless runs you can actually see that we have to eliminate a single person to get the keycard, but you don't have to do that anymore. There's a new strat. So the way this trick works is usually you get the Miller voice line, and then you get Marchenko's cutscene and his voice line, and after that you get the quest to save delegates. But if you actually manage to get to Marchenko's fight before you can get the quest to save the delegates, you don't have to do the quest, so you just need to kill Marchenko. It saves like 30 or 40 seconds of the whole run, and it's really cool in my opinion. In this footage you can see me run down a set of stairs to a yellow couch. This bit is actually the trigger that the game thinks I'm in Marchenko's fight and that I have taken the choice to not save the delegates. So if we actually manage to get the Marchenko cutscene after that trigger, the game thinks, okay, he just wants to fight Marchenko, he's a bad guy, he don't wants to save the delegates. And you trigger Marchenko's cutscene by making the guards look for you, and you can do that by destroying exactly that door. Usually it just works when it's broken, but in my case, for some reason, I had to shoot another time so the guards actually look for me.
Tu devrais être mort, Adam Jensen. Mais non, il fallait que tu te pointes ici.
But after that Marchenko's cutscene triggers, you just run to his fight, and at this point you need the Tesla augmentation. You need the Tesla augmentation to kind of EMP stun Marchenko, because he's a heavy enemy, and heavy enemies can always counter your takedowns. So if you just try to take him down normally, he would just counter you, and you would most probably die because there's a turret in the same room. So, you know, just to take him out you need to EMP stun him and then press Q or whatever button you have to kill him or take him down. And after the fight the cutscene should start to play, and then you're pretty much finished. So yeah, this was a full run breakdown of a MD glitchless run. Of course I didn't go into every single detail, most of it was just go there, do stuff. If you have any questions, just, you know, write it in the comments or join the Discord to ask people there. And see ya.